reacting to true story scary animations. Woo! We back with a brand new one. And you already know, boy, you better get that out of here. This is not a drill. You guys know what to do. Go to the pantry and get your snacks and get your drinks and your juice. Get some popcorn, some peanuts and chips and granola bars and fruit snacks and whatever snacks you got. And don't forget your blankets, because everybody knows that the blanket is gonna keep us safe. And please click the subscribe button. It's gonna really help the channel and it's gonna make me feel better. Gotta give a shout out to MJV Animations. They're the ones that made these amazing animations we're about to watch. But yeah, comment down below one of your fears. Are you scared of public bathrooms? Are you scared of gas stations? Or are you scared of your grandma? Let me know. Woo! And let's go. A little bit nervous, but you guys are with me. Please stick with me and watch the video all the way to the end. We got some really good ones. So here we go.
My girlfriend talks in her sleep. At first it was cute and hilarious to tell her what she said the next morning. It was really just harmless nonsense. Like, the sky is folding, or we need to raise the ground. We talked the next day about if she remembered her dream, but she never did. I wish I knew what she meant by we need to raise the ground. So, some context. Our nightly routine is for us to start cuddling and then give up once it gets too hot. Then we're both on our sides usually, back to back. She would fall asleep before I do, and so I would hear the full range of her nightly musings. Honestly, at first, I was eager to hear what she said, because it was always funny to tell her and our friends what she would say while she was deep in REM sleep. But now I'm done.
Oh.
I'd prefer she not talk anymore. How am I going to sleep after what happened last night?
What happened?
Last night around 11 p.m., she was asleep, and I was still up, just reading. Back to back. I hear her mumble something under her breath. Couldn't quite make out what she said, but I lean over from my book to peek at her face, and she is sleeping soundly. I return to my book and get back absorbed into its pages. At some point, I fall asleep. But next thing I know, I'm woken up by my girlfriend, talking at full volume. I open my eyes, and at some point in the night, both of us have turned to life face to face.
Uh-oh.
My girlfriend's eyes were wide open, and she was staring right at me, no more than 2 inches from my face. But her eyes were blank, like she was looking through me. These eyes, man, it's like she was straining to widen them as much as possible.
Ew.
Those are the eyes I fell in love with, and right now they're scaring the absolute piss out of me. My heart rate skyrockets and my body gets a surge full of adrenaline. I throw off the covers and jump out of the bed, looking at her, and her eyes follow me like a painting.
She's possessed.
Stays still. For 1 second, I decided that my book light was keeping her awake, and what she had said was, "Can you please turn that off?"
Nope.
Now out of bed looking at her, she's not right. Her body hasn't moved, but her eyes dart from looking at me to looking around the room. I dare to ask her, "Are you alright?" But no response. Those eyes were piercing through me as I spoke, though. They are now deadlocked, looking right into my eyes. Her breathing hasn't changed. She was definitely still sleep breathing for sure. That's when, while looking right at me, she says in a too deep of a voice, for her, let alone as a woman in general, "Come back to bed, dearie."
Nope.
My girlfriend has never called me dearie before. We have cute names for sure, but they range from pumpkin, baby, or to cupcake. Dearie sounds like something my grandmother would call me. I decide I'll get more information before I climb back into bed with a potentially possessed girlfriend. "Are you awake, sweetie?" No response. The eyes dart from me to the wall, to the door, and then to the ceiling. I'm about to nope out of the room when her wide open eyes rolled to the back of her head.
Oh!
The white from those eyes stood out to me,
Oh, no.
even with the dim radiance of the book light. No pupils in sight, as she insists. Of course I'm awake. Come back to bed.
No.
with a subtle tap of the fingers on the comforter. Looking at her fingers now, I'm starting to come around. She's never sleepwalked before. Surely she is awake now if she's moving her hands. But I'm looking at her fingers as though she is pretending to have control.
She's throwing up gang signs.
They're all going in different directions. Like one finger was pointing straight down, and the others to the side. Those hands are not my girlfriend's hands. They are simulating normal movement as best they can. That's when I say, "Hey, I'm going to get a drink of water, baby. I'll be right back. Can I get you anything?" Fully planning to run out of the house the moment I'm over the threshold.
Better
My
get some
normally
holy
agreeable
water.
and sweet girlfriend decides I'm not allowed to leave. As serious as cancer, she says in that too deep horror voice, "Take one step out of that door and I will rip out your throat and shit down your neck."
Oh! Ow!
Shocked but understanding the importance of not letting this beast know I am in trouble, I replied, "As interesting as a proposition as that is, I think I'm going to." And thinking quickly, I grab my water bottle from the nightstand. This doesn't please my girlfriend, as she decides to start screaming and fingering her way towards me.
Bro.
It's a supernatural scream. So high-pitched and bird-like, I feel as though my neighbors 3 houses down were going to ask us if we heard that last night. As far as I can muster, I unscrew the lid and douse her in water.
Yep.
Like I knew what I was doing. Her eyes close. Her garbled appendages normalized, and she's now back asleep.
That's crazy.
I'm going to sleep on the couch for a while. Maybe forever. She'll understand when she's awake.
No! You got a girlfriend that's just sleep talking and her pupils go in the back of her head and not today, Satan. Not gonna get me. I will sleep outside. But guys, don't go anywhere, okay? Stick with me and let's go ahead and watch another one. Okay, let's go.
This was in spring of 2021. I'm a 24-year-old male, and at the time, I'd been living away from my family while I was studying at an out-of-state college.
You look 30.
Our school had a fairly early spring break, which meant I'd get to go home and visit my family. It was about a 2-day drive to get there, and mostly through long, boring roads. I'd take the drive over flying any day, though. I left on a Tuesday morning. I actually woke up early and hit the road well before I planned to, so I was doing great on time. I didn't have the route really planned out though. I just had a general idea of where I'd be making my first overnight stop at. I drove almost 10 hours straight,
Jeez.
only stopping for food and gas. Around 8 p.m., I decided I'd done enough for today, and at the next gas station, I pulled up the map and looked for the nearest hotel I could stay at. I was in the middle of nowhere, but I knew there had to be something within 20 to 30 miles, at least. Thankfully, I found one. It wasn't too far, actually. The directions told me to go down the road behind the gas station, away from the highway. This road looked very old, and had very few streetlights that didn't do much for lighting up the road, and there were no cars coming down. I drove about 5 minutes.
What is
passing
that?
Through a very small, old-fashioned town, and at the end of the street was the hotel.
No.
It was a small building, just as old as all the others. I parked in the empty parking lot, then grabbed my bags and walked inside. The lights were very dim, like weirdly dim, and nobody was at the counter. As I stood there, I just looked around. It was so quiet. No kids running around, or TVs on in the lobby. It was just empty. After a minute, someone finally came walking down the back hallway, and she looked startled when she saw me. She quickly walked up to the front counter and greeted me, then got me a room for the night.
That smile.
I thanked her and walked down the hallway. She gave me the room all the way at the end. I unlocked it and got in. I didn't even unpack anything really. I just sat on the small sofa and went on my phone for a while. The room wasn't very big or nice, which I wasn't expecting anyway. This was clearly just an older and smaller, probably family-run hotel. I remember just laying on my back on the sofa, scrolling through videos on my phone, and I guess falling asleep. I woke up abruptly to someone banging on the room door. I quickly sat up, shaken by how sudden and loud it was. My eyes looked over at the clock on the wall. It was 11 p.m. Concerned, I got up and walked over to the door, opening it.
No, you dummy.
Nobody was there. I poked my head out and looked down the hallway. I stayed there for 30-ish seconds, really confused and waiting for someone to come back around or something. But the hotel was really quiet still. Everything was so off, I started second-guessing myself. Like, was the knock even at my door? It sounded like it was, and I didn't hear anyone else in any of the rooms near me. But maybe somehow it was for one of the other rooms.
You cooked.
I went back to the couch for a little bit, then took a shower and got ready for bed. I set an alarm for 8 a.m. and fell asleep. I really wanted to sleep good tonight, because for one, I was really tired, and two, I had another long drive ahead of me. However, I woke up again in the middle of the night to someone banging on the door. I jumped up again, and this time I hurried up to the door.
Bro.
The whole room was dark, and I could only see the sliver of light coming out from under the door. I swung it open, but nobody was there again. I did the same thing, looking down the hall and listening. After a minute, I decided that this was too strange to not investigate a little further.
Don't investigate.
Tiredly, I walked down the hallway and to the front desk. It was just as dark and quiet as it was when I first arrived here. The woman was still at the desk, though. I told her someone had been banging on my door and asked if she saw anyone. The woman looked really confused.
What's wrong with her
almost
eyebrows?
as if I was joking. When she realized I wasn't, she then said that I was the only guest staying here tonight. I just smiled and said okay, then started walking back to my room. I don't think it had really set in yet. Like, was I just going crazy?
Yes.
I got back to my room and went in. I made sure that all the locks were in place, then got in bed. I just laid there for a minute, staring at the pitch black ceiling and trying to think about what was going on, before I decided to grab my phone from the nightstand and maybe watch a video or two to get me to relax. However, right when my screen turned on, it lit up the room just enough for me to see something in the corner by the bed. I jumped up and backed away from the bed. There was someone there, standing in the dark, in the back corner of the room. They were still, motionless, just watching me. My heart was burning from how hard it was pounding in my chest. I hurried over to the door. As soon as I began removing all the locks, I heard them start rushing up behind me. Their loud footsteps against the floor.
Get out of there, man!
Closer and closer as I finally swung open the door and sprinted down the hallway. The front desk woman jumped when she saw me, but her eyes quickly darted past me. The man was running up behind me. She started calling 911, but just when the guy got into the lobby, he sprinted out the door. He didn't get into a car or anything. He just ran off. The woman explained that she had no idea who that was, and that he should not have been inside the hotel, again saying that I was the only guest checked in for the night. Police came and did a rather quick investigation. The hotel only had 2 working cameras, one in the lobby and one outside, so it wasn't all that useful. The only thing we know is that the man definitely slipped into my room while I was asking the woman about the knocking. We don't know what he wanted from me, or why he was even there at all. I got my things and left that night.
Yeah, sleep in your car.
Obviously not wanting to stay any longer. I still have no idea what that was about, but it was definitely the most terrifying experience of my life.
Look, man, he just wanted your underwear, that's all. Next time, stay at a Marriott or a Hilton, or a hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Don't be staying at these random places. I mean, come on. Stay at a place where they have a continental breakfast in the morning. Okay, guys, don't leave me by myself, all right? Stick with me. And let's go ahead and watch one more. Let's go.
I'm from Connecticut. I was in a long-distance relationship with a girl from Georgia, and I would often make road trips down to visit her. I don't really mind. I love road trips. I've driven across the United States and back all on my own. There's just something about traveling the highways of the US by yourself that's just so freeing.
No, it's not.
To save money, I would sleep in my car. It's really not so bad. It's basically camping in like a metal tent. Kind of makes you feel like you're really roughing it, if you will. I just recline the seat back, keep the key in the ignition just in case, and I doze off. No, I don't put anything up to block the windows for privacy, but maybe I should have. The trip down south is a comfortable 2-day drive. My stop would usually be somewhere along the Virginia and North Carolina border. So for my previous trip, that's exactly where I stopped that night. Rest stops were often less trafficked and thus quieter than truck stops. Normally I would have stopped at a Love's, but I was so tired that I settled for the first rest stop I saw. It was oddly vacant that night, with only a couple of lone cars, sitting forlorn under the amber street lamps. Most likely travelers with the same idea as myself. I pulled into a parking spot away from the others, under the shadow of a tree, and far from the street lamps. I figured I would have more privacy there as opposed to being bathed in light. So I did my usual thing. Locked my doors, opened the window, just a hair for ventilation.
No!
Kept my key in, reclined the seat, and then just went to sleep. I was never interrupted on any of these car camping nights, so I never suspected anything on this one. But then a sharp tap woke me up. At first, I thought I heard it in my dream. I opened my eyes a bit confused. Since I was leaned back, I was facing the ceiling and I couldn't see anything. I then heard another tap, like a tiny object hitting a hard surface. It came in with an irregular rhythm. Was it raining?
Yeah, it's
Water
just
dripping onto my windshield?
It's just rain.
I'm under a tree, so maybe something fell from the branches. Maybe it was a squirrel or a bird, and maybe they dropped something. What if a squirrel was climbing around my car? Or what if it wasn't an animal at all? The thought occurred to me that it might very well be a person poking around outside. What did they want? Were the doors locked? Yes, and the keys were in the ignition. I can leave in an instant. So still, I lay there completely still, pretending to be asleep, pretending I hadn't heard anything. Pretty much just hoping whoever it was that they would leave me alone. It was better to not find out. I was definitely too afraid to find out. It was better to stay here in blissful ignorance. But still, the tapping continued.
Not
And
again.
it was at this point I knew I had to do something. There was no way I was just going to stay there. I literally had to look. My heart was pounding. In that moment, it was deafeningly loud. Whoever was out there could probably hear it too. I decided I was going to look. I was going to raise my head up and see what was making that noise, so that's what I did.
Don't do it.
What met my eyes sent a jolt through my entire body. Every muscle fiber locked up in pure shock at what I saw. The faint glow of the street lamps cast just enough light for me to make out what I was looking at. Right there in the windshield, staring directly at me, was a face.
Oh my gosh.
Someone I presumed to be a woman was lying on my hood, her face pressed right up against my windshield. Her face was completely still, locked in a permanent grin. I froze in an overwhelming terror. The eyes I stared into appeared to have rolled back,
Oh.
showing only the whites. Her nose was turned up, pressed painfully into the glass. The lips stretched wide, revealing horrid rotten teeth. Even in the darkness, I could tell her skin was sickly pale, contrasting her long, filthy black hair. Whoever this was, she was clearly not in her right mind. I don't know how long I sat there, too afraid to move. Finally, I got a grip on myself and I shot my hand to the ignition.
Yep.
It turned over, making in that instant the most beautiful sound I ever heard. But for a split second, I was afraid I might be caught in a horror movie scenario. The one where the car won't crank as the killer approaches. But luckily the car turned on just fine, and I reversed as fast as I could, trying to not give this creeper time to try anything. In my panic, I remember activating the windshield wipers in a futile attempt to get her off.
Yeah.
I thought, was I about to drive out of here with some wacko holding onto my hood? Thankfully, I didn't have to worry about that because as soon as I stopped, the woman leapt off, landing on all floors.
Run her over.
Seeing my opportunity, I shifted into drive and I gunned it, right as I saw her reaching for the driver's side door. With my foot on the gas, I sped out of the parking lot. And behind me, I heard her let out a piercing shriek like that of an animal. I looked in my rearview mirror, and for a split second, I thought I saw her chasing me, running on all fours.
Oh,
with her black
no.
hair swinging wildly around her. I couldn't get a good look, as I rounded a curve in the road leading out of the rest stop and merged with the highway. Once there, I picked up speed.
Geez, 160 miles per hour.
I did not dare stop again until I saw the morning light.
It's a little fast, my boy. You see, that's why I don't do road trips. No sleeping in your car at random parking lots. No sleeping in random hotel motels. If you're traveling and you're gonna stay somewhere, stay at the Four Seasons luxury hotel. And there, hopefully, there won't be no homeless women jumping on your car or creepy, scary, sadistic men popping up in your room. Or just do what I do and just stay at home and don't go anywhere. But if you enjoyed this video, then go ahead and smack that like button. And yeah, I'ma see ya in the next one. Peace.